You might not agree with me, but I think this right here is the most accurate depiction of our future, especially after the depopulation agenda.
What do you do if you're out scavenging one day and you come across another human? Yay, friend. Well, most of the time, the first thing you should do is smash his face in. You see, this pasty, unassuming, semi-attractive man is actually a cloner.
A cloner from the billionaire class that are living in their bunkers after they implemented their eugenics operation. And of course, it looks like we're going through COOF 2.0, as there's going to be major addresses to the nation that a lot of people believe are signaling very hard economic times ahead of us, as this conflict in Iran definitely isn't going the way that a lot of people thought it would. David Icke has come out with his theory about the next type of lockdowns and restrictions. As of course, I have warned specifically from the beginning of this conflict, it's not smart to start this conflict when the economy is teetering on collapse, right? If we look at what's happening right now with energy prices, helium, fertilizer, even Russia and Ukraine making economic peace deals, this signals something big is coming, as a lot of people are talking about how this will start a larger potential financial emergency. We have Xing Zhongquin talking about how this is going to be the next lockdown excuse. Alex Jones is warning specifically about plans to crash the global economy. What's really going to be happening here? Well, we're going to discuss that with our conversation continuing from our main channel. If you appreciate it, subscribe. I think these conversations are more important than ever. Let's continue on with this video from Brent Febby. This is pretty hilarious. This is just random. I just randomly saw this. I thought it was good. Go give him a follow too.
Human-looking bots sent out into the world to infiltrate human camps. And once they're in, the signal goes out, more bots come, and before you know it, you're on fire. Not good.
No, not good at all. As the world's on fire right now. The world economy is on fire right now. Again, how much are we in debt? How much are we spending? There's not really a lot of fiscal conservative policies here. There's a lot of spending. As now there's a big possibility. I think the big possibility is that there's probably going to be an escalation of tensions and there's going to be more economic problems headed our way. That's just my initial kind of reaction here. We could also theoretically say that there's going to be a shifting of alliances that Trump, Keir Starmer, and the Australian government are going to announce. Some people are saying it could be the end to this conflict. I hope so, but I am pessimistic about that. As of course, there's crazy videos of American soldiers literally in their underwear with flak vests and helmets just getting hit with Iranian missiles. We have one person saying, I need you to look at this man rushed into a bunker in the middle of the night, less than 3 minutes notice because THAAD is down and radar planes are destroyed. He put on body armor and a helmet and bolted for the bunker, risking his life. And why? Because people are saying, what's the plan here? And it doesn't look good here. David Icke came out and says, they are lying about everything else. So why would they tell the truth about U.S. casualties? If telling the truth would be a disaster for them, we are watching COOF 2.0 emerge. Not this time through government telling you to lock down and stop traveling, but by circumstances they are creating, forcing you to do it after the COOF dry run. This has been triggered along with threats to food supplies by anti-globalist Trump. He says that sarcastically, doing exactly what his globalist masters have told him to do. But still, the lemmings scream. He's stopping the globalist. Laugh or cry, either is appropriate. As he retweeted High Impact Flicks, that is talking about how there's probably a lot more significant damage. We do not know. There's been a kind of blockade of reporting. There's been a delay of satellites, photos and videos coming from that region, so we don't really comprehend and understand exactly the full scale of what's happening to our troops, what's happening to our military capabilities. Some of this is for, of course, military purposes, but the other purpose is, of course, propaganda, PR purposes, right? If we keep getting news of American soldiers getting injured and hurt and losing their lives and our equipment just being obliterated, it's not going to bode well for the non-existent war support that is currently ongoing. As Robert Barnes just highlighted today, that for the first time ever, Trump has a negative rating with working class white voters. Why? Because of energy, oil prices going up here, and the communication here that is absolutely inconsistent with what is really going on here. Now, former CIA officer John Kiriakou made a great point. I've been making this point from the beginning of this conflict. That is, Bibi has been trying to get the government to bomb Iran for over 30 plus years. Every president said no to him. Bill Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. No, we're not doing this. Trump said yes.
The Iranians have been reactive to this, not proactive. You know, people watch on the news what's happening in Lebanon, in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Syria. There has to be a response. You can't just say, well, you know what, we're an existential threat to the Israelis, so of course the Israelis are going to have to bomb us. That's just not real life. I can tell you, in all the years that I was in the CIA, no matter who the Israeli prime minister was, every single time an Israeli prime minister came to Washington, no matter who the president happened to be, the Israelis would say, please help us bomb Iran. Please help us bomb Iran. Please help us bomb Iran. And the presidents always said no, until this one. I think.
Yeah, what made him do it? Well, Lindsey Graham was bragging about teaching Bibi about how to sway Donald Trump to do this. He's in Disneyland. Now he's calling, after calling for boots on the ground, for the conflict to end. Huh?
That President Trump was duped by Benjamin Netanyahu, and now we're in a war that is not ours from the beginning, and that we cannot win. And this is another thing, too. My own experience in the CIA and at some of the highest levels of government. I was the executive assistant to the CIA's deputy director throughout the Iraq War. There's never an exit strategy. It's easy to attack a country. It's easy to overthrow a government. But then what do? That's the hard part.
Yeah. As we're left with what's going to be happening next here, we'll get into that, as well as the kind of predictions of potential economic collapse. But hey, before the economy collapses, don't forget to support us on LukeUnfiltered.com. Bad lead-in into supporting us. As, of course, we greatly appreciate all your support. You got a bunch of money, you could support us monthly, $15, $99, $8. If you don't have money, don't worry. You can just share this video. I appreciate it. I understand people are in hard times, and I'm greatly appreciative of all your support. But most importantly, what you get by signing up is a community of people you could talk to. We talk on the Discord. You at me on Discord, I will respond. You could talk to me directly by signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. I'm going to do a video about what I'm doing to kind of prepare for all this madness and insanity here. But you also get a lot of cool t-shirts. You can buy t-shirts like this by becoming a member of LukeUnfiltered.com. This one says, Make America Florida. I think Florida's doing it well. We're going to be eliminating property taxes. We're in a surplus. And we don't have state tax. We don't have state tax. We have sales tax that I don't like. But anyway, regardless of that, I like Florida. I like wearing the shirt. You go out, and people are like, yeah, that's cool. I like that. Oh, yeah, I love it here. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great shirt. As right now, we have limited releases of shirts. We have one new shirt once every new week. One new shirt each week. This one, it says, I survived the scandemic, but all I got was World War III. It's, David Icke says, laugh or cry. I choose to laugh, right? I choose to try to at least, make fun of the current wild, insane, bonkers type of situation that all of us are involved in, as it's pretty bonkers, and I think only going to get that much more bonkers from here. So again, you want the shirt, get it on thebestpokershirts.com. In a few days, you can only get it by becoming a member of LukeUnfiltered.com, and then you get our full catalog of shirts. The Discord, I think, is going to be the most important, because I see hard economic times, hard, like crazy, insane military escalation, and then boom, censorship. Clear that it's historically it always happens, right? Just boom, censorship. So expect that, prepare for that, and we're going to be sharing tips and tricks and techniques all on LukeUnfiltered.com. Anyway, let's continue on here with this conversation. As of course, the conversation from Donald Trump was that we need to open up the Strait of Hormuz. NATO will help us open up the Hormuz. EU, Japan, Australia will help. You have 48 hours to open up the Strait of Hormuz. 5 days to open up the Strait of Hormuz. You have 10 days to open up the Strait of Hormuz. You have until April 6th to open up the Strait of Hormuz. We can leave without opening the Strait of Hormuz. That has been the messaging from Donald Trump. A little bit inconsistent here, as of course closing up a major trade route and blowing up the infrastructure of one of the largest energy-producing countries in the world that prevents them from giving out oil for the foreseeable future is creating a real-life economic disaster-like scenario. And who would have thought? Of course, it's not like we were warning about that from the very beginning, and then we were called panicans. And I'm like, bro, come on. He's like, no, he's doing it for the petrodollar. He's not. No. Iran was selling oil in the petrodollar system. Trump got rid of that. Anyway. Gas just hit $4 a gallon. Oil is above $100 for the first time since 2022. Jet fuel doubled in 3 weeks from $2.17 to $4.57. The national average for gas is up $1.06 in 5 weeks. That's a 36% spike. Airlines cutting 5% of flights. Bag fees up $4. JetBlue, Delta, United, all passing costs to consumers. Small businesses don't have hedge funds to feel like airlines do. They have credit cards and prayer. Mr. President Donald Trump, with a stroke of her pen, an emergency order or executive order, you can impact gas prices. Release more strategic reserves. Do we even have any? As Biden released a lot of them. Fast track permits, suspend the gas tax. States are going to be pissed. The Americans, family and small businesses need relief now, and November is coming. Yeah. As now, even Ukraine and Russia are offering an energy ceasefire after Ukraine has struck a lot of significant Russian infrastructure. As Russia and Ukraine are even saying, hey, we got to stop attacking each other's oil infrastructure. Yeah. As Zelensky publicly acknowledged that protecting energy infrastructure was discussed during last week's peace negotiations, as this is what Russia wanted. Russia, during the start of the peace negotiations, was like, okay, let's do a multi-step ceasefire. First, you guys stop attacking our energy infrastructure, and then we'll move towards an air stop, and then we'll move towards a total stop, right? Russia was like, okay, cool. This was months ago. And then Ukraine, boom, struck Russia's energy infrastructure harder than they ever did before. But it's like, oh, really? Goodness gracious. Why can't we have anything nice? Because of things like that. This comes after Trump claimed he personally secured an agreement with Putin for a brief humanitarian cause. Trump's releasing Russian oil into the world markets, too. Russia's like, we'll see if we're going to limit some of our exports, specifically to Europe, because they don't like Europe, and there's a lot of bad blood. Trump is telling Europe to buy American energy, which is more expensive, more costly to transport. And Europe's like, what the hell? As they're getting rid of their nuclear reactors. Just disastrous. As now, Ukraine could be cutting a deal with Russia to release more oil on the world markets and more energy on the world markets, which we are desperate for. There's also a helium shortage that's becoming very serious. As of course, it's going to be creating access to energy sources. People are saying that this could pop the AI bubble, as most of these data centers are reliant on energy, and we don't have energy. As of course, China's looking at us laughing as they're building nuclear reactors more than ever. Energy bills set to spike. Microsoft gets rate cuts, as of course now Europe and Australia are talking about lockdown measures because there's just no energy around.
What on earth is
What a perfect way to implement their net zero program.
this all about? COVID-style restrictions? Are you having a laugh?
I think we are. I think the Labor government is having a laugh, Alex. We are literally running on empty right now in this country. It is crazy. Let me just give you some background to it. A couple of weeks ago, when the fuel crisis began, the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and the Energy Minister said, no, look, nothing to worry about. No need to panic. Don't go out there and stockpile. We have an abundance of fuel in this country. Fast forward a few weeks later, more than 500 service stations across Australia have run run out of at least one type of fuel. So as you can imagine, there's a chain reaction. Farmers out in the regions are panicking because they rely on diesel not only for their own operations, but to feed the country.
Shortage of fertilizer too.
And now we're being told that supermarket shelves could possibly run low.
Yeah, not good here. As of course, on April Fool's, Donald Trump is going to be addressing the nation, as some people expect talk about long-term pain for no gain at all. The previous talking point, short-term pain for long-term gain. It looks like the nations of the world are preparing for a long-time pain, no gain at all, other than the globalists getting their kind of perverse type of lockdowns, net zero initiatives, as we had Xing Zaquin, the professor that, by the way, predicted Trump would win, predicted Trump would start the war in Iran, and predicted that Trump would lose the war in Iran, saying this.
Sorry, Rick, but I hate to break the news, but this is COVID 2.0. Southeast Asia, India, Japan, South Korea, all these places are going to have to go into energy lockdowns. They're going to have to do work from home. They're going to have to ration gas. This is the reality, because the world economy was built to be efficient, not resilient. For many years, people became addicted to access to cheap energy. And even if there were a ceasefire announced tomorrow, experts say it's going to take a few more weeks, maybe even many more months before the GCC can restore energy production to a level before this war started out. So the world economy is in a really bad place, and especially places like Southeast Asia, especially Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, they should brace for the worst case scenario.
Yeah, so much pain, so much suffering for what? Why do we do all this, right? And again, the language from this administration isn't helping, right? Rubio saying one thing, Trump saying another thing, and they're just kind of like backtracking here on all of this, as a lot of people are talking about how this could become the worst financial crisis of our lifetime, right? As it's not just an oil crisis, it's also fertilizer, it's also helium, it's also key supply chains all at once being disrupted here, foreshadowing big disruptions in food, tech, and everyday costs as of course the most people paying for this Iran conflict are the poor people in this world, right? Or the middle class people that are being obliterated. Everything becoming more expensive because everything being transported, everything being made, everything being grown is becoming that much more expensive, right? Now, the health ranger says, we just got the force majeure letter from Air Gas, our helium supplier for our food science lab, where we have multiple mass spec instruments that use helium. The letter says that the helium supplies are cut off, and if you're lucky, you might be allowed half the helium you need. Even then, you will be charged extra for any helium you get, a lot extra. Now, Alex Jones has
several days ago
has had a little bit more of a negative aspect of all of this, as he released the video talking about the terroristic plans to crash the world economy's energy supply and trigger a global economic crisis.
Several days ago, Ukraine attacked massively on the Baltic ports of Russia, where there is a main gate to export the oil. And then Ukrainians claiming, oh, we just attacked it. And it was definitely, orchestrated, not by Ukrainians, but most probably by the British. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to cause Russia reaction to start the war with the NATO, thinking that the United States is going to jump in. So
it's a repeat of Operation Spiderweb, trying to strike
Correct.
Russia to get Russia sucked in, which again is totally insane.
It's insane. But moreover, think of this logic. There is a crisis of energy. Now you're trying to shut down export from Baltic Sea, which will only exacerbate the crisis. Then the oil will jump up to what, $200 a barrel? How it will affect everybody in United States or in Europe. And the Zelensky who depends on the oil he was getting before diesel from the Hungary, because Russia would pumping the oil into Hungary through this pipeline, which called.
So let me throw this in just to show that, you obviously more than I do, but obviously the British are at the heart of the globalist system. Larry Fink admits he loves this war. They want a global collapse so they can have a Marshall Plan for the world. They want energy to crash. They can then blame Trump for all of it.
And that's what I said. Even before Trump won election, I was like, if Trump wins this election, they're probably going to crash the global economy. And it looks like he's helping them do that.
The Iranians, and they're wanting a global depression right now, and that's why they're also striking at Russian energy. I mean, this is just totally terroristic.
Yeah, that's not only terroristic, but it's beyond even the war crimes, because this looks like everybody went amok and there is nobody even to say, hey, guys, where is your limit? What your, real object, what you want to achieve? If somebody crazy, start something without knowing what he even wants, looks like the Trump completely lost even idea what he want to achieve. Every day he changing his mind, whether he giving this, ultimatum 2 days, then 10 days, then extending, that saying if you don't open, we will destroy your energy infrastructure. Then apparently Iran has very distributed generation system in this. It's difficult to knock out everything at once. Then he said, okay, I don't need to open Hormuz. You're going to be opening it yourself. Or then we heard this story where Iranians give him a gift of 10 tankers. It looks like, I don't know. I mean, whether it's joke, whether he really get some issues with the, senile health or whatever, but it's definitely doesn't look good at all.
Yeah, and it's not breeding a lot of confidence, as a lot of people expect energy lockdowns, restrictions, major problems ahead. As even Warren Buffett just said, hey, the current market drop is nothing. A larger decline is ahead. As a lot of people are saying, something bad is happening. Prepare accordingly. Thanks to all the members that are talking, engaging on the Discord. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys signing up, and I'm going to be here for you guys when it really hits the fan, and I think it's going to hit the fan. That's just my opinion. That's my 2 cents. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys subscribing to LukeUnfiltered.com, sharing this video, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on YouTube.com/Luke Rudowski 76.